And it's hard to rally around a cause you didn't even know existed. But as a reminder of the magnitude of this problem, every time you drive along Pikes Peak here in downtown Colorado Springs near Tejon, this 60-foot tall mural painted just last year. It's a symbol of the missing and murdered Indigenous women who are much more than just numbers. Yeah, Rob, they were handing out these pamphlets that say rest and power here on the front. Then when you open it up, some of the people remembered today listed here on one side, then demands that they have for our city here on the other side. It's filled with everything from flowers, balloons, cards, anything that people can get their hands on to show just how much love and support they have for the victims and the families. Obviously, today makes you think of the worst case scenarios, but I'm here with Cindy Lockett. She's a resident who was also evacuated because of that fire, where Petito posted this picture on July 8th to her Instagram account in the same spot where I'm standing right now. Schelling's body has never been found. It's one of the biggest challenges for prosecutors in this case. But their last witness to take the stand today claims he was in jail with Lucas, who apparently told him he'll never be convicted in this case because investigators will never find a body.
Just reminds me of the good times we had.
This is more than just a backyard.
Yeah, I sit out and I look over the property and there's a lot of memories.
It's where Matt Riviere raised his kids.
Stephen was very witty and Andrew was goofy. It was always Andrew and Stephen or Stephen and Andrew. The boys were really connected to one another. And that was our tradition. Every year, one of the boys would put the topper on the tree. Yeah, that was me and Andrew there.
The boys grew up. Andrew was 21 and Stephen 19 when they were living together in a Colorado Springs apartment.
One of the boys got some pills and came home with them. They passed in their apartment side by side together.
That was July 25th. The next day, their parents got the call.
We literally ran around the house just screaming, just horrible screams that words can't express.
The coroner's office says both boys had fentanyl in their system, their cause of death, and something their father didn't know much about.
They weren't drug addicts doing hard drugs. We knew what they had done and what they'd experimented with, and we've had very open conversations.
Law enforcement says usually fentanyl is found in counterfeit pressed pill form, a light blue pill called an M30, meant to look like oxycodone.
It's really a game of Russian roulette if you're one of these people that are ingesting these pills.
An emerging drug trend.
By gosh, we're going to be out there day and night taking these pills off the street.
Leaving a father with the toughest of questions.
I had that thought, am I still a dad? And I know I am, but it's hard not to have my boys.
Hoping their story makes others think twice before taking any pill.
And I'm sad and I miss them and look forward to seeing them again.
A heart broken, but a message meant to save other lives. Police say it was a family celebrating during a birthday when in the early hours of Mother's Day, the suspect, one of the victim's boyfriends, according to investigators, walked in and began shooting. And while it's hard to wrap our heads around this senseless tragedy, you can see a memorial starting to form at the home right behind me. And one woman who added to those flowers and candles wants to let the family know she's here for them when they're ready. On a day like this,
my God, again?
The rain feels right.
Those little children, they'll never be the same.
But nothing can wash away what happened in a home off of Preakness.
I was late at night, hanging out with my friends. All I hear is pop, pop, pop.
6 people, different generations of loved ones, shot and killed at a birthday party. And investigators say the suspect then took his own life. Police say the kids in the home are physically okay.
I heard a kid crying outside of one of my houses, crying for mom, because I think that's the mom that was killed in the incident. And it absolutely broke me hearing that. On Mother's Day, a child losing their mother.
A memorial starting to form outside of a home turned into a crime scene.
From the same family, I lost one son and I barely made it. These people lost so much.
Jennifer Romero brought flowers for the family, feeling a connection to the tragedy.
My son Gino was 13 years old when he was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting on May 24th 1997.
And nearly 25 years later, that pain hasn't gone away.
You don't believe it until they put them in the ground. And you have to walk away without them. That's when it really hits.
Romero started a support group, Mothers of Murdered Youth, and says she's here to help anyone connected to this mass shooting.
I have to be there. I have to help them. I have to do something.
If and when they're ready,
No, you won't be alone.
she'll be there to share her heart with strangers, intertwined by trauma. Police say they're still looking into a motive behind this senseless act of violence. CNN talked with a family member who says only one adult survived the shooting, who was in the bathroom when the gunfire began. I'll be at that Springs Police press conference tomorrow afternoon, and we'll have the latest on the investigation for you. Always watching out for you, Colorado Springs. Colette Bordelon, News 5.
It's beautiful, it's quiet, it's peaceful.
A moment outside to breathe. Maybe it's something we all need from time to time.
I guess if you kind of look at who you are as a human as like a recipe.
And recipes can be messy.
Emotions are just as important spices as anything else in that recipe.
Former Army EOD Captain Mason Heibel served for 1 month shy of 9 years. And for the most part of his military career, there was always a smile on his face.
When we returned from Afghanistan, probably 3 weeks afterwards, one of my soldiers came up to me and made a comment that stuck. "Sir, what happened to you? You were always the happy one, and now you're the angry one."
It was a struggle that at first he didn't realize was creeping in, eventually reaching a point he couldn't ignore.
Driving to work and knowing that if a vehicle came across the median, and not knowing if I would try to swerve.
With the help of his wife, he began going to therapy twice a week. He was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and PTSD.
I would say it's like living with an elephant in the room, 24/7. And no matter how familiar you get with that elephant, it's always there. But you can get more comfortable with it, and you can learn to not let it control you.
His journey with mental health got harder before getting easier.
What they don't see is the hours spent crying in a shower, or the hours spent not sleeping and just driving in the mountains because I just can't turn my brain off. And I know if I'm feeling that, other people are feeling that too.
Now his mission, making sure veterans know they're not alone.
I spent years alone in crowds, and I know what that feels like, and it's hard, and you don't have to be alone in a crowd.
Being there for someone else, maybe that's all we really need.